It's that time of the year when programming comes to a close in Johnston Hall.
Bringing you Marquette basketball for the last time, this is the final episode of Golden Eagle Sports Report. Thank you for tuning in to our last episode of Golden Eagle Sports Report for the school year. I'm Grant Becker.
And I'm Brian Foley. We're recapping the 2013-14 seasons for Marquette men's and women's basketball tonight. We'll kick things off with the last men's game at the Bradley Center on March 8th. This was the last time Devontae Gardner, Jameel Wilson, Chris O'Toole, and Jake Thomas would play at home as it was senior day in Milwaukee. Jumping to the end of the first half, errant pass, but Jake Thomas picks it up and drills the three at the buzzer. The Golden Eagles take a 1-point lead going into the locker room. Jakar Sampson finds Chris Obekpa for the flush. The Johnnies have the lead now. Now, 10 seconds left. Derek Wilson steals the inbounds pass and gets it to Thomas to cut the deficit to 2. MU forced foul, but St. John's misses the 1-and-1. Marquette grabs a board, pushing the ball up the court. Todd Mayo gets the handoff, drives the lane, and hits the floater. Tie game at 72. Skipping into the second overtime, Marquette down 1. Jameel with the ball. Gets it back to Derek, whose jumper misses, ending the thriller. Let's hear from our own Mike Cianciolo, who was at MU's final home game.
Saturday afternoon, Marquette hosted St. John's for their final regular season home game of the year, and it would end in a heartbreak on senior day as the seniors would go out with a 90-91 loss in double overtime.
We've played 6 overtime games. I think all of us, including me, understand the value of a possession, and I also think that playing in 6 overtime games, you don't ever necessarily feel like you've won it, and you don't ever necessarily feel like you've lost it.
The Golden Eagles' 6th overtime game in conference play marks a new Big East record. They were coming off a tough 80-81 double overtime loss at Providence Tuesday and collected another similar result against the Red Storm at home Saturday. Playing for the final time with Marquette at the BMO Harris Bradley Center, the senior class of Jake Thomas, Jameel Wilson, Chris O'Toole, and Devontae Gardner were amongst the starting 5 and combined for 58 of MU's 90 points. Thomas would extend his streak of hitting three-pointers to 12 straight games by connecting on 4 long balls. Wilson put together an impressive stat line of 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. O'Toole garnered 8 points, 3 boards, and 1 blocked shot, while Gardner dropped in 21 points, 3 boards, 1 assist, 1 block, and 1 steal in 35 minutes of action. Devontae Gardner, one of Marquette's favorite seniors, got quite the compliment from St. John's coach Steve Lavin following the game.
Gardner is, outside of my own team, one of my favorite players in all of college basketball. I really enjoy watching the way he plays the game. And as I've said before, he can't jump over a Ritz cracker. He's not going to win any sprints or ever be on Sports Center for making an acrobatic, above the rim, high-flying dunk. But he helps his team win. He has a great understanding of basketball. His sense and feel, or IQ, for the game is first rate. And there's just something about his nature, his temperament, his demeanor that I appreciate.
Marquette fought all game long, trying to show that they were better than their record. After being down by 8 in the first half, MU crawled back to lead by 1 heading into halftime off a Jake Thomas buzzer-beating 3. Then down by 4 with 11 seconds left in regulation, Derek Wilson stole the ball and got it to Thomas to make it a 2-point game. And following a missed free throw by Orlando Sanchez, the Golden Eagles came down the court and Todd Mayo sank a runner at the buzzer to send the game into overtime. Another split scoring period in the first overtime forced a second overtime, but there was no heroics in the books for Marquette as D'Angelo Harrison and St. John's held on to win by 1. For just the second time since joining the Big East in 2005, MU fell 1 game shy of 10 wins in conference play.
You take short, shallow breaths throughout this time of the year, and when you win, it just allows you to keep breathing, short, shallow breaths. And as much as you want to win, you don't want to lose.
The Golden Eagles await the seeding for the Big East tournament for their next matchup in Madison Square Garden next weekend. Reporting from the BMO Harris Bradley Center, Mike Cianciolo, MU TV Sports.
Following the close of the regular season, Marquette earned the 6th seed in the Big East tournament and traveled to New York for the conference quarterfinal on March 13th. They would face 3-seed Xavier, and Marquette's frustrating season would come to an end in their first game of the tournament, losing to the Musketeers 65-68. Buzz Williams inserted Deontay Burton into the starting lineup for this game, but the freshman's 23 points weren't enough to give MU the win.
After closing out the year on a 4-game losing streak, Marquette would snap its 8-year streak of making the NCAA tournament and didn't even receive a bid to play in the NIT. This was by far Buzz Williams' worst season at Marquette, finishing with a 17-15 record and going 9-9 in the Big East. MU went 0-5 against ranked teams and lost 4 home games all year. After being predicted to win the Big East in the preseason, Marquette will likely play the role of the underdog next year.
On Friday, March 21st, news broke that Buzz Williams was leaving Marquette to become the head coach for ACC cellar dwellers Virginia Tech. Williams left after missing the national tournament for the first time in his 6-year stint at Marquette. MUTV Sports caught up with some of the returning players for their thoughts on Buzz's departure.
It kind of hurt a little bit, but at the same time, I felt like everybody was ready for a change. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a change.
Yeah, I kind of figured something was going to happen because he said a lot of things that he didn't say last year. So I kind of knew, like, either he was going to take some scholarships or he was going to leave. I knew one or the other was going to happen.
It was rough with Buzz leaving, especially when he didn't tell me. Like when I found out, I was on a plane home, and I found out from a Woodford fan, and they had just played the NCAA tournament. So, I mean, it was tough, but, you know, it's a business. I understand when you move on, you just got to move on.
I was confused. I was a little upset, but it's a business at the end of the day. And, you know, when I was going to transfer last year, you know, people were saying this and that to me. I shouldn't do it. I should. Whatever Buzz's reason was for doing it, you know, kudos to him. It's a business. You got to do what's best for you. So I'm not mad at him about it.
When he left, you know, my feelings was hurt a little bit because he was the first coach to offer me a scholarship. So I was loyal to him, and he was loyal to me and my family. So it's kind of hurt to see him leave, and I always wanted to get the chance to play for him. You know, you did all the hard work from boot camp to individuals, and then not just to be able to play for him. I mean, it hurts. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business, and you got to do what's best for your family. So he did what's best, and I'm still going to respect him because on and off the court, I learned many lessons from him. And I feel like I respect him for telling me the red shirt. Because if I didn't red shirt, I feel like my career wouldn't have gone downhill, but I learned a lot. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't red shirt. So I feel like I respect him for that.
Exactly a week ago, Marquette fielded its vacancy at the head coaching position by naming former Duke associate head coach Steve Wojciechowski as MU's 17th men's basketball coach. Over the last 2 days, Coach Wojo has added 2 assistant coaches in Chris Carrawell and Mark Phelps to his staff. Here's what Coach Wojo had to say in his first press conference as head coach last Tuesday.
The game of basketball has been incredibly good to me. It's taken me places that are beyond belief. But today I stand here, and this is the most proud day in my basketball life, being with you all, celebrating this day as the new men's head basketball coach at Marquette University. Because I think Marquette is the perfect place for me and my family to make this step. You know, Duke has been great for me. It's a place where I grew up. I have amazing relationships, and it's a place that made me better every day. So I wasn't going to leave, you know, for just any job. I was only going to leave for a job that I thought is the perfect job for me. And I feel like Marquette is that place. And that's why I'm so excited about it. I want to win every day. And I want to win every day as basketball players. I want to win every day as students. And I want to win every day, most importantly, as people. I think I'm as competitive as they come. I love the game of basketball. And I think it should be played a certain way. And the number one way it should be played is hard all the time.
The Marquette men's basketball team has had quite a busy offseason. Let's send it over to the analysts to discuss the latest with MUBB. Tim?
Thanks, Brian. I'm Tim Leibforth, joined by our analyst, Peter Fiorentino, and you should already recognize Grant Becker to my right here. Boys, let's put a bow on this season, the 13-14 season, Marquette men's basketball. Describe the 17-15 year that we had and explain why in one word.
I mean, I gotta say sad.
Disappointing.
Melancholy.
Discouraging.
Forlorn.
Unpleasant.
Woebegone.
Insufficient.
Traumatic.
Disheartening.
Heartbreaking, Tim. This was a horrible season. They had 6 overtime games in the Big East. They went 2-4 in those games, and it really showed testament to how our guys just did not want to win at the end of those games.
It was really frustrating overall coming into the season. Marquette was ranked 17th in the country, predicted to be first in the Big East. They did not make the NIT tournament, and they, in fact, finished sixth as a sixth seed in the Big East tournament, and then they lost that game as the sixth seed in the Big East tournament. So,
I think what really killed them was those 2 back-to-back double overtime losses, one against Villanova at home and then St. John's away. It was really kind of disheartening to have 2 of those huge losses kind of knocking out at the end of the season right before you're trying to make the tournament.
Right, and then when all was said and done, having Buzz leave and having Wisconsin make the Final Four was just salt in some very, very open wounds.
It was a heartbreaker, that's right. Just a bad season overall. A few weeks back, former head coach Buzz Williams left Marquette to coach the Virginia Tech Hokies in the ACC. We heard the players' reactions, but what are your thoughts on Buzz leaving? What's the idea?
It was pretty surprising, actually. There had been speculation, as there has been the last few off seasons, that he was going to leave. But no one even heard the name Virginia Tech thrown out there, really, before. Got the update on my phone, and I was pretty shocked. In the end, the move makes sense, but only because of the conference. Eventually, if he is to build this team up and make them anywhere near the power that he had here at Marquette, the money will be flowing pretty easily. But right now, money's bad, the team is bad, doesn't really look good, and he is not popular amongst Golden Eagles.
Yeah, I was going to say, Virginia Tech hasn't made the tournament since 2006. They were 9-22 last year, and they've been 2-16 in conference the last 2 years. So Buzz is really starting from the bottom of the barrel. Started from the bottom, and now they're not there yet. But I'm kind of surprised he left. I'm not really surprised he left. I'm very surprised where he went. I would not have chosen Virginia Tech, especially because so many Texas schools wanted him. SMU was looking at him, Texas Tech. So he could have gone some of the other places.
I was thinking calling back to the Texas State, but I guess not. Last weekend, you named Steve Wojciechowski its new head coach on Monday. Coach Wojo added former Duke teammate Chris Carwell as an assistant coach, and Tuesday he added Mark Phelps. What do you think of the new coaching staff on the Golden Eagles?
I met him. I'm going to talk with him for a little bit. However, the results are going to speak for themselves. If he, makes a good run in the Big East, knocks down the opponents we should have, which we did not do last year, then we'll kind of see whether he's a good coach or not. Nice guy, says the right things, but will he get the job done is the question.
Yeah, absolutely. He's supposed to be a great recruiter, as are the guys that he's hired to be his assistant coaches, but you've got to get the results. On paper, this move looks fantastic. Coach Wojo looks like a surefire hire, but you really don't get anything out of that until you see success on the basketball court. Next year's a rebuilding year, so they got to take it step by step, and if they can do better next season than this season, Golden Eagle fans should be happy, and they should be a perennial tournament team soon enough, but we'll see the results when they come.
Absolutely. I want to see the floor slamming in November. That'd be great. Thanks, guys. Hey, Brian, what we got next?
Thanks, Tim. With the season over, it's time to look back at the highlights and count down the top 10 plays of the year. Coming in at number 10, we start out with a little bit of a defensive play from Steve Taylor Jr. Villanova, charging down the court, and Steve Taylor takes in, steps with the body. We're going the other way into the overtime period. Number 9, we got Jake Thomas. He picks it up. We saw this one already today. Oh, and that's some drainage with the three-pointer. That's a little cash. Devontae and Todd Mayo giving him a little bit of love. Here's number 8 against DePaul. Juan Anderson on the break. Slam-a-jamma. Here we go again. Oh, that's a little pretty finesse play right there for the junior. Number 10, there we go. Number 7, got a big Deontay Burton just swat. Get out the way, son. Jake Thomas gets it to Triple J. Joanne Johnson, the freshman finish. Oh, that's pretty from number 5. Fine play.
All right, the number 6 play here against Seton Hall. Jamil Wilson comes in with the putback, and he hangs on the rim. Absolutely fantastic. And that put the cap on a great game against Seton Hall there. All right.
Number 5, we go against Providence. Derek Wilson flips it to Jamil Wilson, gets it to the lefty freshman Deontay Burton. Oh, rise up. Rise up. Number 30 with a big hammer.
Moving on to our number 4 highlight, we got ourselves some more Jamil Wilson here. Devontae Gardner, the big man, with the rare steal for him. Very athletic to Derek Wilson. And then the oop to Jamil. There he is again. Oh boy, that is pretty. Hanging on the rim again, rising up. How about it? Beautiful finish. Samford getting the worst of these highlights. Absolutely filthy.
Here we go to number 3. Todd Mayo comes back with the ball in the corner. He goes to court, gives it to the Devontae Gardner. Big man, big dunk. Look at him hang on the rim. Oh, let's do a pull up there. Kick the ball out the way. Get out the way, son. Butler's got nothing on Devontae. A little clap for enthusiasm. Let's go to the bench. We got Dwayne Wilson do a little celebration jig. There we go.
Yeah, the big man was loving that one. Number 2 highlight. Here we go. Deontay Burton with the rebound. He's going to take it all the way down. A little bit of dribbling. He's going to come inside, and there he goes. Huge leap from outside the paint. Just throws it down. Those left-handed dunks are absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, Deontay.
Number 1, some more Deontay. He gets the ball in the paint. Oh, get out the way. Just stop it, Stanford. Stop it. Stanford getting a lot of exposure in this highlights. And Jawan Johnson likes what he sees. He can't control himself.
Bringing the whole bench back out on the court. Absolutely fantastic. Doesn't get more exciting than that. When we come back, we will have the women's basketball recap for you. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Deontay Burton, and you're watching Golden Eagles Sports Report.
Women's basketball team had some postseason success, Grant.
Now let's go back to March 9th for MU's first game of the Big East Women's Tournament. Big East Tournament quarterfinals taking place at the All-State Arena just outside of Chicago. Marquette women in a huddle before the game, getting amped, and here we go. Brooklyn Pumroy brings the ball up the court, uses a little hesitation in the paint, and takes it to the rack for the smooth two. Marquette up by 3 early. Now at the other end of the court, Katie Young with the steal, and she will take it coast to coast, and she's going to lay it off the glass here, making it look easy, putting the Golden Eagles up by 5 with 13 minutes to play in the first half. Now with just seconds remaining in the half, Devin Kane with the jumper, and she gets it to fall for Villanova, who would go into the half trailing just by 2. Now with 7 minutes left in the game here, Catherine Plouffe makes it look easy as Marquette takes a 7-point lead. Plouffe with the ball again, but this time she'll give it inside to Pumroy, who gets down low and earns the gritty and one. She'd make the free throw. Now with just 3 seconds left, Brooklyn Pumroy comes up with the block on Taylor Holman. And that'll be it for Marquette. They'll move on to the Big East Conference semifinals.
Sunday night, the number 5 seed Marquette Golden Eagles took on the number 4 seed Villanova Wildcats in their first matchup of the 2014 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament. They would take them down 56-53 in a nail-biter right to the end.
I just was really impressed with our defense. Our defense did an amazing job, and that was our main focus. And we knew the offense would come, and obviously it's a low-scoring game. Harry's just tremendous with how he uses the clock, but came down in the end. We've been in a lot of close games. And I love the maturity of our team.
Facing Villanova for the 3rd time this season, Marquette was able to look past being swept in the regular season and pick up their first win over the Wildcats in the Big East quarterfinals. The game was low scoring and a result of both good defense and poor shooting. Both teams combined for 33 turnovers and shot under 36% from the field Sunday. In an equally matched game, the victory went to the team with the most rebounds, as the Golden Eagles grabbed 4 more offensive boards and 5 more defensive boards than Villanova. Despite Catherine Plouffe's 12th double-double of the season, it was a collective effort in getting the win for the blue and gold.
Let's talk about Ashley Santos putting a freshman in at the end of the game, have great defensive stop, getting fouled, stepping up on the free throw line, and hitting 2 free throws when she hadn't scored the entire game. I mean, that's maturity. That's players stepping up and doing what you need to do.
Marquette led for much of the game until the last few minutes when it looked like their tournament run could end early and the Wildcats were clawing back. With just over a minute to play, Villanova held a 2-point lead over the Golden Eagles. A trip to the free throw line for Catherine Plouffe would make it a 1-point game. Then again with 18 seconds left, Plouffe would this time make both free throws to give Marquette the lead. Brooklyn Pumroy's blocked shot at the buzzer would seal the victory for MU, sending them on to the Big East semifinals.
This win is huge for us. It just gives us confidence going to the next round, and DePaul is the same that we've seen the last 2 games, and so we just need to recover and get ready for them tomorrow.
Marquette's next matchup comes back here Monday at 5:30 to face the number 1 seed DePaul Blue Demons. Reporting from the All-State Arena, Mike Cianciolo, MU TV Sports.
The Marquette women taking on DePaul in the Big East Tournament semifinals at the All-State Arena. Early in the game, MU's Katie Young with the ball calls her own number, attacks the hoop, and gets through the foul for the score. But the Blue Demons would counter with an and one of their own. Megan Rogowski drives and hits the layup, drawing a foul on Ashley Santos. MU trying to hang with DePaul, and Brooklyn Pumroy banks in the jumper. Marquette trailed 55-38 at the half. Here, Arlisha Morris gets off the off-bounds layup to go, but this game was all DePaul all the time. Blue Demons break in the press. Rogowski finds Jasmine Penny, who gets 3 points the old-fashioned way. DePaul up 16. DePaul would end up winning 100-90. Our own Mike Cianciolo was at the game.
Monday night, the 5 seed Marquette Golden Eagles played in their first Big East semifinals matchup since 2007, and against the number 1 DePaul Blue Demons, there was no shortage of scoring, but the Blue Demons would clip the Golden Eagles 100-90.
I thought our players gave everything they had. It was really hard to get in a rhythm in that first half. The fouls, when you have 4 players with 3 fouls, and
you just have to change your game plan. It's very difficult, and then that gets, then they are up 17. But I thought we came out with a lot of heart, and I think we ran out of gas.
With the lights shining the brightest on the national stage Monday, the Golden Eagles opened the game with a dismal first half. They would turn the ball over 10 times and rack up 16 fouls before hitting the locker rooms for halftime. Down by 17 points at the break, they would endure a slow start to the second half and never pick up enough steam to get back in the game. The closest they would come back was 6 points down with a minute to play. This matchup ultimately came down to ball control and free throws, which neither was in MU's favor. Totaling 17 turnovers and attempting 16 fewer free throws than DePaul, Marquette found themselves on the losing end of a big game.
This time we didn't come out on top, but we fought till the end, and I'm proud of our team the way we came back, and it didn't end up for us, but there's a great future ahead with the people on this team for sure.
While they live and die as a team, 3 individual statistical performances stuck out for Marquette Monday night. Senior guard Katie Young led MU in scoring with 25 points and collected 7 rebounds. Senior forward Catherine Plouffe notched her 13th double-double of the season with 19 points and a career-high 17 rebounds. And sophomore guard Brooklyn Pomeroy tallied a career-best 21 points and dished out 7 dimes for the Golden Eagles in this high-scoring, high-intensity battle with DePaul.
I think the Big East needs a whole lot more respect than it's getting nationally. I just think, people look at other conferences and they're talking about 7, 8 teams in this conference, and I would just love for the opportunity for our 4 and 5 and 3 teams to play what they're saying should go to the tournament. So I just hope the committee has eyes wide open to how good this league is and the people that need to be representing the tournament when you talk about the best teams and best players and playing your best basketball.
Marquette will await selection Sunday to see if they make the NCAA tournament, but should they not, their next matchup would be the first round of the women's NIT. Reporting from the All-State Arena, Mike Cianciolo, MUTV Sports.
Marquette opened its 2nd straight WNIT tournament at Indiana State on Thursday, March 20th. Indiana State entered the tournament with 1 win less than the Golden Eagles at 20-11. Jasmine Greyer led the Sycamores with 21 points. Indiana State had 4 starters in double digits, but that wasn't enough. Catherine Plouffe had a monster day on the glass, cleaning up 26 loose balls and adding 19 points. Brooklyn Pomeroy had 10 points and 5 assists, and Chelsea Butler pitched in 10 points off the bench to aid the cause.
Marquette suffered a tough 72-69 loss in the second round of the WNIT to Indiana. Katie Young led the Golden Eagles with 19 points on 6 of 10 shooting, but it was not enough to overcome Indiana. Catherine Plouffe struggled to get going with only 4 points. Arlisha Morse and Chelsea Butler both added double digits off the bench. This season, Terry Mitchell's team had a solid 22-11 record, making their 2nd straight WNIT appearance. They reached their first Big East tournament semifinals matchup since 2007 after finishing the regular season in 5th place with an 11-7 conference record. The 2013-14 campaign was good to MU as they had both winning records both at home and their opponents' venues. Marquette women's basketball assistant coach Tyler Summit is leaving Milwaukee. Summit, only 23 years old, will become the head coach at Louisiana Tech. He will become the 6th head coach in the history of their program. Summit, who is the son of legendary women's basketball coach Pat Summit, spent the last 2 seasons on Terry Mitchell's staff. The Lady Golden Eagles had themselves quite a season this year. Let's send it back to the guys for the recap of the women's basketball squad.
Thanks, Brian. Back at the analyst desk one last time for women's basketball. The women got 2 games in the WNIT before the end of the season, falling to Indiana, ending their season. What can we take from the Lady Eagles this season? What we got?
This season was a harsh reality. They went 3-3 down the stretch away, and you can't do that. If you want to go to the Big East tournament, you want to go far in the NCAA tournament, go far in the NIT tournament, any tournament really, you have to win away. And they went 3-3 down the stretch, just didn't get it done. They won some games that they should have won, lost a lot of games they should have won, especially at home. I think this is one of the worst home seasons they've had in over a couple of years.
This season was really super average is what it was. This team was 20-11, and that's really what they were built to be. They weren't, or 21-11, and they didn't have a whole lot more than that. Coming into the year, I think they did a little better than they were expecting to, or than fans were expecting to, and it was definitely improvement from last season, but this team absolutely had all the tools to be this good. Winning one game in the NIT tournament and one game in the Big East tournament isn't all that great. The game against DePaul they put up a good fight, but DePaul never really looked like they were going to lose that game. So that's the story of the season there, is they just were never quite as good as another team, and they never really, threatened to be any better. So
yeah, they always played down to their potential to the other teams. So you got to be better than that. Thanks, guys. That'll do it for us. Brian, send us home.
That's going to do it for the last episode of Golden Eagle Sports Report. Thanks for watching, everyone. For our analysts Tim Leibforth and Peter Fiorentino, and my co-host / analyst Grant Becker, I'm Brian Foley. Good night, Marquette.